I'm Riley, and I saw The Handmaid's Tale Season 1, Episode 3, late. It is directed by Reed Morano, written by Bruce Miller. If you haven't seen this episode, I will spoil it for you. I was watching this episode, and oh boy, the world building really sucks. And I'll tell you why. This episode starts with Ofglen. She's been put in this really white room with a bunch of guards. And my first thought is, oh, it must be because she's part of the resistance. Later on, we find out because she's gay. And they're not allowed to use the word gay anymore. We also learn that the chick who gave birth last episode, she bit the chick who was trying to handle her baby, the wife of the commander. Just went and bit her. Okay, I guess. You're gonna get shot, you're gonna get killed for that. So Offred's like, well, I guess I'm gonna go talk to her and see what's up. Why did you do that? Because she just yanked the baby from me while she was breastfeeding, and the baby wasn't done feeding and she just took her. Rightfully so, Offred's like, you can't just bite people. It's obvious that this chick, this pregnant woman now with the baby, she's like, I can do anything I want because I can be fertile and I can give babies. Offred didn't tell her this, but Offred listened to a conversation where she wanted to get rid of this handmaid because she bit her. She's like, as soon as she's done feeding the baby, I'm gonna have the baby and I'm not gonna deal with this chick. Do you not understand the role in society that you have? So I expect either in an episode or two that chick is gonna go away. Also, I liked how that was filmed. Also, the blocking too. The camera's in a really dark lit room. Offred looks really dark, but this chick, she's standing right next to this window and it's very bright. And she's talking about, oh man, me and my commander, we're gonna run off together. We were talking about that. He loves me. And it's like very optimistic, not at all how this society works whatsoever. And Offred is in the darkness because she's like, oh no, bad stuff's gonna happen to you and you don't even know it. Versus the light glow on the other chick, she's optimistic and very naive. It also goes to show that the commanders at least want to learn more about the people that they're impregnating. As I watch more and more in this episode, I'm like, oh, the men don't even want to partake in this. Nobody's enjoying it. The Marthas aren't enjoying it. We learn a social class lower than the handmaids, which are the Marthas. They're essentially just slaves. The Marthas don't enjoy it. The handmaids don't enjoy it. The commanders and their wives don't enjoy it. So who enjoys it? The people who enjoy it are mean, old, very angry women, very infertile, who are fake Christian, who use Christianity as a way to abuse people underneath them. Melanie Mac types. That's who's enjoying this type of society. Melanie Mac types. I know that this episode is like, oh, the authoritarians, they were boiling everybody into this position right now. And there's flashbacks in this episode from after the fall. So you're going to give me flashbacks from after the fall and then the currentness is right now? Can you please give me what led to this? But no, it just seems like lazy writing. They just want to make it so, oh, some fertility virus is taken over, so authoritarian governments can abolish the Constitution. And the way that it's framed is like the women didn't read the news at all when it was happening. I would be notified if the Constitution was abolished. I'd be like, what is going on? I'm going to protest right now. And there would be so much fighting before then. I know what's happening in current climate right now. Even in this polarized society, it is not like this fictional society, Handmaid's Tale, because nobody's enjoying any of this. There's nothing enjoyable about any of this. The people in power don't enjoy this. And nobody cares about babies. There's a scene where the wife of the commander is talking to Offred, and she's like, oh yeah, we're gonna have a nice little beautiful boy. It's gonna be a great time. Woohoo! Oh, there's a baby crying. How about you go take care of it? It's just like nannies until a certain point, and then he can raise them, I guess. Is that what's happening in this society? Also, the way that they have masks on. They quote gender traitors, aka the Ofglen, who turned out to be gay. And by the way, Offred is being interrogated for this now. The state's like, oh yeah, we're gonna have one of our servants drive you in a car. You wanna go to this house and we're gonna have a good old time. First of all, bring out the taser. Bzz, just, tase. And then the woman who is interrogating, she looks like she's enjoying it, but only in the way that you can enjoy anything in this society, which is not really at all. This lady gets offended that Offred fulfills the full Bible quote instead of just saying the blessed be my meek. She says, blessed be my meek, blah, blah, blah. Essentially, which is the opposite meaning of how they're using it. And then she gets tased for it. So like, oh, you're using Christianity as like a shield to do bad authoritarian things, like Melanie Mack. You're using Christianity as a shield to be a terrible person, like Melanie Mack. Those are the types of people that are running this. And if you're watching this sometime in the future, and Melanie Mack, her existence doesn't exist anymore because she's washed out, then good. You don't need to know her. If you watch this episode and see the person tasing Offred, that's who Melanie Mack is internally. That's her soul. And she's going to hell. It also seems like the women, they have such violent tendencies. Some of the women don't, but the women's in positions of power, the ones who are infertile, they are so angry. They just want to abuse other women. The men don't even want to abuse the women. This society is about women who are bitter old hags who are infertile. They're upset that these pretty young fertile ladies are here having babies, having sex with their husbands, because that's the current social what's happening in society in this fictional world. It's so hard to engage with what's happening in this world because the world building is not that good. One thing will be set up and then I'm like, okay, cool, so this is happening. And then another thing gets set up but it's completely contradictory and it's like, oh, okay, interesting. There's also the authoritarian government in the flashbacks that is taken over because of terrorists attacking the Capitol. What does that sound like to you? Oh yeah, and then they have some measures that sound like coronavirus measures, which is the closest that this real world that we're inhabiting, the closest that this real world gets to the fictional world in The Handmaid's Tale. In The Handmaid's Tale, they make it so women can't work anymore. Their masks just fire because it's a law now. The closest to that was when people couldn't go show up and work anymore because of coronavirus, so they had to work online. That's the closest we've ever gotten, and that has not at all been Trump's America whatsoever. And it's so funny that the marketing and the talk around this show is like, oh, this is Trump's America. I'm like, no, this is more like Biden's America, you idiots. If you're comparing them at all, and you can't compare them because it's a fictional world, and it makes no sense that any of this would happen because nobody in power is enjoying this. This society goes against all of humanity. There's no humanity in this. Humans search for pleasure. If you didn't enjoy things, you wouldn't be doing those things. And if you don't enjoy things, you do it because there's a promise for a better future. And that's why authoritarian regimes take hold. And in the first place, it's the grass is greener on the other side mentality. Oh, we're promising a better future. But this one didn't even establish that they were promising a better future. It just established, oh, well, we have a fertility crisis. It's time for us to just lock all the women up. Well, nobody's enjoying this whatsoever. And I freaking hate it. I just wish there was more world building. By episode 3, why am I still asking the question, who is voting for this? Who voted for this? Uh-oh, those are sirens. I better finish this up because it's after dark and I'm not allowed to be out here after dark. When Offred says to her commander's wife, hey, I'm not pregnant, even though she used, hey, she's pregnant against the chick who was tasing her. Hey, don't do that, you freaking, she's pregnant. And you know how much they love pregnant women. They worship pregnant women. So of course that old hag suddenly stopped. That chick just starts abusing her, like dragging her. Shoom, you're no longer allowed to leave this room. But I'm like, bro, you guys were counting her period. She never mentioned that she was pregnant. You guys inferred that she was pregnant, and then when you guys were wrong, you punished her for it. You guys are absolutely evil. You guys are terrible people. And I know there are some terrible people in the world, but I don't believe there are this many terrible people and this many meek people for a society like this to exist. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention what happened to Ofglen. So she got rehabilitated, and the Martha that she was kissing and having sex with, that Martha got hung. And the rehabilitation is just implied to be female genital mutilation, and guess who's taking the most pleasure out of it? That old hag who's insecure, who doesn't like that this chick, although she is a lesbian, she hates lesbians so much, but she's projecting everything that she hates about herself onto this lady who just happened to be gay, and so she's just being like, oh, I'm going to abuse you. Aha, looks like your genitals have been removed. Now it's going to be easier for you now. And it's like, oh. Don't people hate old hags who are bitter and hate everyone? Doesn't most of society hate those types of people already? How did they get in so much power? Who voted for this? This isn't even a good world building. Man, I'm gonna have to watch the rest of the series thinking who voted for this as the hysteria continues. And my prediction is that she's just going to rebel eventually. She's already kind of fighting with her words and she's getting punished for it, but she's going to rebel. Don't watch this episode. Don't watch the series. This series is made for women, by women, for women. No man seems to be at all involved within the society, and if they are, they're all a bunch of little cucks. Where's the masculinity in this society? No man would let this stand. Men deal with reality in front of them, and women be like, oh, well, reality should be this instead, and this is that. That trait about men and women is the show, but this is the women's part. This is all made up. There's no like through line, well, what caused this, what caused this, what caused this. It skips to after the bad stuff's happened so they could just lazily not write what happened before. Freaking classic women, always wanting to be oppressed. Also, there's this idea in like feminism in this show is so strong. The family unit has already been removed. We got a friend of Offred in the flashback with her husband, and she's like, she's not your property. I'm like, don't you understand the wife-husband balance that has been for so long, for all these years, that has lasted civilizations many a time? Or male role, female role within like a gay couple, I don't care, but there are male and female roles. A woman is typically the master of the house. She has domain over the house. That is where she's powerful. The man takes care of the money, and he's like dealing with reality outside. That's the thing. That's what's happening. You split that up, and now you just have a bunch of single women thinking they can do whatever they want, but actually they're the domain of the house. They can do whatever they want around the house, but they have no basis on what is reality. Women don't know politics. This is an entirely political issue. Women writing politics is how you get this show, which is a show with not good world building whatsoever, with leaving me with many questions and answers, leaving me with bad explanations. Oh, so the women, they just enacted a rule which women can't own any property and vote at all in one sweep, a secret law. Is that what they think is going to happen? No, that's not going to happen under Trump's America. Is that what really women think? Women are delusional, think so, or at least the ones who do. If you don't think that, then good on you. You exist within reality. But this fictional world definitely isn't Trump's America. In a scale of 1 to 10, it's like a 0. Nobody's enjoying it, and the world building sucks. It's all dark and gloomy. Everything about this show is dark and gloomy, and it's not visually interesting. Ugh, I hate it. I've got to give this one, it's a 5 out of 10. If you like this review, watch it on the platform we like, set $20 deal on patreon.com/ASEPresents. One movie review for 1 month. Go to Sleep to support the daily grindness of all the daily movies. So go here. And until next time, mint salad sauce, you'll see my sour croutons and bacon bits. And I have to go now. It's way too dark, and they're going to get me. So bye-bye.